the only one on show, by the way. I'm gonna check. All right, cool. Go. Action.
Fair enough. When at the point of the Big Bang, there was, antimatter and matter created, but there was more matter than antimatter because they both collided into each other and created energy, little explosions, if you like. It's Stephen Hawking explains it when he goes on to talk about black holes. Now, there was enough matter left to create, say, us.
Yeah.
Now, that is still chance. There is still chance. So in an atheist paradigm, there is still chance that created the world. Is my point. Like I get what you mean that in an infinite paradigm. I get that, and that's fine for you to believe that. I'm not saying it isn't. I'm just saying the chance element still comes in because the laws of physics are random.
They are, but I don't think if it's bound to happen and there's a chance that it will happen. I think it's bound to happen. I don't think there's a chance in that.
Fair enough, but it's like so. It's little things, for example, like because you asked me why do I believe God exists. It's little things like the Earth is the perfect distance from the sun, so the sun doesn't roast us, but in the same breath, it's not too cold either. So life on this Earth can thrive. Or like, for example, the Earth is the perfect distance from the sun, so it can create water and all those things that are needed to sustain life. Now, all I'm asking is so like obviously from, I'll say a theist's point of view, obviously I'm a Christian, but a theist's point of view, it makes more sense for someone to be in control of this process rather than for it to just be pure random chance. Because the odds of it being, it's even like the moon. The moon is the perfect distance away from the Earth as well.
I don't... You see, with the teleological argument, the one that you just presented...
I think it's referred to as the watchmaker argument, I think.
No,
I'm not
sure. I think that's the infinite regress thing. The teleological is like everything's so perfect it has to come from a designer.
Yeah, I think I've heard of it called the watchmaker argument.
Yeah, so I think of that one in a sense of the world is so perfect that we exist, right? Rather than the world isn't perfect so we don't exist. It's what Aaron Ra says, right? I don't know if you've heard of him.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but the multiverse paradigm, right? So he believes this is the only universe we can exist in because everything's so perfect. Rather than the universe is so perfect for us, is we're so perfect for the universe. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do know what you mean, but let's put it this way. Would you not agree that, say, the Earth has been created, whether it God or not, right?
Yeah.
It's been created in such a manner that life, like admittedly, human beings, we have screwed up the Earth quite badly, haven't we?
Sure.
I can shake your hand on that.
Yeah.
But the world has been created in such a manner for not only us to thrive, but even all the wildlife as well, and all the.
Yeah.
So, what? Are you aware? Like, I would be ignorant of what the statistical chances are of that.
Low chance.
But it's an incredibly low chance. So I guess say why I believe in God personally. Like, I'm not speaking for every person who's watching this, but it's because I'll tell you a story. I was out. I go fishing a lot with my older brother. I sat there one day and I just simply said to myself, I don't believe this world could have been created by chance, because there's just too many things that have gone right. Like, I guess from your perspective, here's the thing. I'm not trying to interrogate you.
No, it's just
in the
asking
sense
questions,
of I'm just trying to know why you don't believe in God. That's all. But when you say look at the world, and if you like, how kind of perfectly it was created. Human beings have screwed it up, in my opinion, but how perfectly it was at least initially created. How, in your sort of worldview, how does that sort of work?
Yeah, so I believe if the world was, for example, 1 centimeter away from the sun, I don't know like the proper statistics, but it would burn up, right? But I think that's the only reason we have life on Earth is because it was so perfectly placed, right? That
we also have the right amount of gravity as well. Things like that,
exactly.
like the Earth is the right density.
Yeah, everything was made for us to exist.
But can I ask, so if that little phrase there, it was made for us to exist, by who or by what, if you like?
Yeah, so I believe in the Big Bang, right? So I believe that the rocks or whatever that made the Earth was not put, but I guess randomly put in a place for us to exist. And then I believe in the primordial soup theory. So obviously we came from the...
What's that theory? I haven't heard that one before.
It's that we came from amoeba that came from the water, like bacteria that came up and then replicated through RNA, which has also been replicated in something called the Miller-Urey experiment. So we know that can garner life, but I don't think it was placed by someone, because again, we have no concrete proof of that.
I'd argue, though, we don't have any concrete proof, because you know, let's be honest here, a lot of yeah, come on. Let's make sure this stays off you, shall we? I haven't tried to force you into this. I was just genuinely interested in the conversation, to be honest. So anyways, but would it be fair to say, so you're right, I can't objectively prove to you God created the world. But is it fair to say you can't objectively prove to me that you didn't either?
I mean, again, that's called a universal negative fallacy, right? So I'm not implying something made it, I'm just looking through observations of naturalistic claims. But in your paradigm, something did create it, and you're trying to say to me that something did create it, so burden of proof is on you, not me.
It isn't necessarily, though. Not always. Because, not in this case anyway, not in our conversation. So I'm more just trying to understand, because you've got a unique perspective, I think, amongst... You're not quite coming at it from, say, the Lawrence Krauss kind of angle, where just everything just appeared out of nowhere, because that is basically what Lawrence Krauss would say. And you're not coming at it quite so cold as Dawkins would. I feel sorry for that guy sometimes.
I mean, I'm open to being a theist if the correct evidence is provided to me.
What would you count as correct evidence?
Well, I believe in constructive empiricism, right? So anything that can be logically deduced from a metaphysical point of view, because that's what we're speaking
So, in
about.
other words, observable evidence.
No, not observable. That's just empiricism. But constructive empiricism says that anything that can be logically deduced can exist.
Well, would you say that a creator of the world, let's exclude the word or the sort of entity of God for a second, because I have met... I'll use the word agnostic. I've sort of met agnostics before who would say that something, not necessarily God, but something created the world sometimes. Sure. I've heard that argument before.
Sure.
So if you like, would it be fair to say, because say in the realms of metaphysics and things like that, in the same way, like I've said before, I can't objectively prove to you that God created the world. All I can only do is give you my reasons for why. And I would say something is a similar concept in physics. Things like string theory. I forget the name of the guy who preaches it now. He's the Asian guy. But it's what you would call theoretical physics, isn't it? Sure. He can prove it, say, through equation, but he can't prove it, say, objectively, can he?
Exactly, yeah.
When you say that poses some form of a problem.
I mean, not really, because you can logically deduce that it is there. But again, I don't truly 100% believe in, a lot of the theoretical physics, which is
what would be the main theoretical physics you would subscribe to, so to speak?
In terms of what, creation?
So, creation. So, because the Big Bang is still technically theoretical. I know there are some evidences for it. I'm not denying that. I'm just simply saying that it still counts as theoretical because we haven't proved it objectively, have we? It's not like Newton's laws of gravity, is it? If you get what I mean.
You see, gravity is a tough one because Newton made the law of gravity, but on the scientific level, the methodological scale, it's not considered a fact.
No, I know this actually because I've said to atheists before, do you believe that gravity is a scientific fact?
Yeah.
And they'll go, yeah, I do. It's actually a theory, but jump off a bridge and tell me it's not a theory.
again, it's the theory is the actual highest statement can be, right? So the reason it's a theory is because we can measure it, the same as we can measure the Big Bang and have proof of it, right? That's the same reason.
But it still counts though as in the realms of theoretical. Anyway, back to my question. What sort of theoretical metaphysics theories which you subscribe to? Like I mentioned string theory for argument's sake.
Yeah, so with creation in general, I subscribe to methodological naturalism. So quantum mechanics, quantum fluctuations, virtual particles, all that scientific lingo, I subscribe to all that because it can be empirically deduced.
Let's have a quick chat about morality, if you like. So I know you may have already touched on this, but we'll do this for the camera's sake. How do you view morality?
Subjective.
Is it completely subjective?
Yes.
And do you believe there is anything as objective morality at all?
Nope.
So for example, there is nothing to stop you. You've got a nice umbrella there. There's nothing to stop you from whacking me over the head with it right now.
Nothing that would stop me, but I wouldn't do it.
Ah, but why wouldn't you do it?
Because you're a nice guy.
So your ethic would be, because I'm pleasant, you won't hit me with it.
I mean,
But where are you? But where are you getting sort of that from?
My own mind.
But what makes your mind say more valid
doesn't.
than say it doesn't?
No.
That's quite sad, really. You're kind of placing yourself down a bit.
No,
But anyways,
their own morality.
But anyways, say like obviously theists in general, and Christians are the same, would believe in objective truths, which would be lined out in, say, our scriptures in the Bible, for example, because God gave them to us. So then that way we know sort of right from wrong. Like, so let's say, for example, I'm not saying you do want to be one, but let's say you became a father. How would you teach your children from, say, right and wrong? Like, don't touch the fire, or don't do this, don't do that.
I mean, I was brought up an atheist, and I always found not to touch fire because my mum told me not to. So objective truth does exist. I'm not saying that it doesn't.
So how would you define objective truth?
Something that can be empirically deduced.
Give me an example.
Like fire. It's hot if you touch it, therefore you probably shouldn't touch it.
How do you understand, lastly, so I say, for the viewers, this isn't an interrogation, this is just to understand an atheist's mind. How would you understand the word belief?
No, yeah. Belief. I think you described it perfectly, actually, back there.
Yeah, so I described it as you can believe something without evidence, but you must have reasons. You can't just say, I believe it cause, or just cause. So, for example, I went to watch a football match yesterday. I can't say I support Stoke for my sins. I can't say Stoke are going to win that game because I think they're going to win it. I have to say Stoke are going to win because we got this guy up top and we got this goalkeeper, and I reckon we're going to do pretty well. A belief has to have reasoning.
Yes, exactly.
It can't just be based on complete blind faith. And just so I know some Christians are going to watch, in Peter's letters, it does say, give a reason for the hope that lies within. So that is important. But would you say you hold any beliefs, so to speak, things you can't prove, but you hold to be true?
Not really.
Because basically I do, don't I?
I don't think I do.
So wouldn't you say, I don't know, your idea of subjective morality, can you empirically prove that to me?
No.
So can I count that as a belief of yours?
Yeah, sure.
So there you go, you do have a belief.
Yeah, I guess I do, yeah. Sure, why not?
So, it's a case of people can hold beliefs, but you've given me your reasons already for having your subjective morality, but one can hold a belief and it can be true, it can very well be true, even without evidence. That's quite important, really. It's like, for example, even the great scientists like Galileo and, say, Isaac Newton, when they came up with their theories, say, of gravity, or of Galileo with the planets going around the sun, they couldn't prove it at first, they believed it. Yeah. And they had their reasons for believing it. They might have proved it in the end, but it started from a belief, didn't it? Anyway, I think we'll wrap it up there, so I haven't got a lot more to say. Just, it
was very nice talking to you.
You too, mate. And I know JC likes wrap-ups, I'm terrible at them, so I'm just simply going to say, Jesus is number one. There you go.